Hello everyone, welcome back to another Camp Cretaceous video, where today it is the review of Camp Cretaceous Season 4. I am fresh off the bat of just watching the whole of Season 4, and yes, I do apologise, my stream and my watch along did actually crash midway through episode 6. Turns out my PC was going through a few issues, which I hope doesn't actually happen throughout this recording. So I do actually apologise about that. This was a known concern before the stream started, but I thought it didn't blue screen yesterday, so I was hoping it wouldn't blue screen today. Unfortunately it did, and yeah, the rest is history. But I have actually seen Season 4 now, complete. I've seen all of it, and yeah. Okay, just to let you guys know, whoever is new around here, I absolutely love Camp Cretaceous, no matter what this review may come across like. But Season 4 just felt so far-fetched and so far away from the Jurassic canon that it just felt like it shouldn't have been part of the story. There's a little bit of me that's kind of hoping that Darius is actually going to wake up from playing his video game, and it turns out that it wasn't actually true. But I know that's not going to be the case because Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous was supposed to be our kind of expanded universe for the Jurassic World universe. And yes, we know that more Jurassic content will be coming after Dominion. This was our first little teaser as to what to expect. And unfortunately, Season 4 kind of let down Season 1, 2 and 3. Because again, this is supposed to be our expanded universe. We're supposed to get more information about what happened off screen from the movies in these sort of segments of Season 1, 2, 3 and 4. But Season 4 just doesn't really seem like it should tie into Jurassic World in any way, and I'm very concerned about the future of it, especially for Season 5, which we'll talk about in the next video. But anyways, we may as well review Season 4 and let's talk about it. So it did start off really good. Episode 1 was the scene where we had the Mosasaurus. And overall throughout that scene it was really good, it was well put together, it was very intense, the campers thought they were finally getting away, and then when the Mosasaurus attacked them towards the end of the Mosasaurus attack, they were so dedicated to trying to reach that piece of island that they didn't realise it wasn't Costa Rica, and ultimately they did wash up upon it when the Mosasaurus whale flipped onto the boat. Now throughout that episode there were some link ups and suggestions that Kenji and Brooklyn did like each other. I didn't really like that at first because Kenji is almost 16 years old whilst Brooklyn is still 13 years old. So I felt like it was a bit weird to put a 16-year-old and 13-year-old together. I don't know, that's just my opinion, and it didn't really seem like they had any form of chemistry before this episode. Season 1, 2 and 3 didn't show it anywhere. Kenji was just a friend to every single person, and it was more likely that Darius and Brooklyn had more of a connection than anyone else. So I was actually very shocked to find out that Kenji was interested in Brooklyn. Either way, I'm just going to go with the flow of it. But this episode actually turned out to be really good, and when you're watching it, you think that Season 4 is going to be brilliant, if you haven't already seen the trailer, that is. So then we move on to Episode 2, where things start to get a little bit weird, but they start to introduce the holograms, and I didn't mind the holograms at first. You know, it did seem like it is a possibility. Some people were arguing about the scientific breakthrough of this technology in today's era, but in this universe, in the Jurassic universe, in the 1980s, they were able to clone dinosaurs. We can't even do that. We can't even get anywhere near that. We can't even clone creatures from 50,000 years ago. So their technology is so much more advanced than our technology in our universe. So I don't think the technology was the issue. I do think it was the robotic creatures that we saw later down the line. So yes, I actually didn't mind the holograms. It seemed possible and it seemed plausible, and that was a good situation. But then Episode 3 was something that kind of had differences. It was something that was okay, but then had many issues. It just didn't seem like it was also sticking to the Jurassic lore. Whilst we did get introduced to May Turner, Dr. Turner, she was actually a really good character, and I thoroughly enjoyed every single one of her appearances throughout this season. I think she was a great addition to the cast, and she was presented in a way that was actually really good. It's just unfortunate that she got attacked by the Velociraptors later down the line, which basically told her that she was not going to be playing a huge part in the future episodes, which was quite annoying because that kind of gave... I wasn't a big fan of Cash. He just seemed like he was easily manipulated, he was just angry all the time, and he was just cocky for no apparent reason. There wasn't really any character towards him besides being the same thing over and over. Whereas Dr. Turner, she was angry at these campers for snooping around, then she was annoyed that the campers left, and then she understood the campers and she felt bad for the campers, and there was much more character progression there. Yes, I know that Cash was supposed to come across like that, but at the same time I believe there should have been some form of character progression right there. maybe Darius talking about the baby Brachiosaurus being shot in the head, he would have realised maybe that's not a good idea and tried to do his techniques maybe a different way. That would have added more characteristics towards Cash rather than seeming like an actual robot, let's say, if you pardon the pun. But episode 3, that's the issue for me. I feel like episode 1 and 2 were brilliant, and then episode 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 kind of let down the season. Episode 3 mentioned how these dinosaurs were taken from Isla Sorna, and thus she then called the T-Rexes mother and daughter, talking about mother and daughter feeding techniques. But when you look at the T-Rexes, there is one that is blue and one of them that is green. Typically, if the Rexes are from Isla Sorna and are green, they are actually male. So I'm not too sure why on earth they've decided to call both of these Rexes female when we know for a fact that one of them, by canon and by lore, is in fact confirmed to be male. Maybe they didn't realise that they're actually dealing with a male and female Tyrannosaurus Rex here, and that could be the whole story behind it, but I'm not too sure why she decided to call them both female at this stage. So I feel like that was just an error in the lore, because surely that should have been called up upon when scripting this series. Now episode 4 introduces a few more robot dogs which we saw in episode 3. Now the robot dogs weren't exactly terrible because I feel like it kind of fit in with the storyline, but again robot dogs just don't seem well for Jurassic stories, and I think many of you guys can agree with me that the robot dogs don't fit in at all to Jurassic lore. If this story was not to do with Jurassic World, then yes, they would have fit in perfectly. I feel like they were definitely well suited. I didn't hate them as much as I thought I was going to, just because I think they were suited to the story they wanted to tell in season 4, which was good. But again, if you look at the whole universe, the whole Jurassic canon, they don't fit into that at all. And I think that was one of the main concerns that loads of people wanted to see. And at this point, because all of the silly stuff that was going on, I just felt like it was a chore trying to watch these episodes and trying to enjoy them. When you do write up a script, you want the audience to enjoy it no matter what. But I was enjoying it, but I was forcing myself to enjoy it. Because no matter how much I tried to enjoy it, in the back of my head I still said, this is not Jurassic World, and I think everyone can agree with that. Yes, it may have suited the story, but it just doesn't suit the overall story. And not only that, but again, throughout these episodes, I feel like Kenji and Brooklyn's relationship was kind of dragged out so long until episode 9, 10, 11, when they finally realised they had feelings for each other and got together. But because it was dragged out so long throughout the whole of the season, it just felt so incredibly forced. It didn't feel natural to me, and it just felt like they wanted to be together because they kept looking at each other and then they haven't had interest for 6 months from people. And that's the way it came across, it just didn't suit at all. In fact, none of the campers suit each other when they do come to relationships. I feel like having a friendship bound throughout these 6 campers would be much well suited than to having a relationship for one of the campers, or one set of the campers shall I say. Overall it just felt really forced between them because it took so long for them to realise. And talking of character progression, none of them seem to really have any sort of character progression. I feel like Yaz may have had the best one throughout all of them, and she was suffering from PTSD, which is something we know loads of people do suffer with in today's world. So it was a nice little nod to expose what PTSD is and try to get some people some help in the real world. But since they put so much focus onto Yaz's PTSD, they cancelled out everyone else. Brooklyn, yeah, maybe she had a bit of character development by realising she can't do everything but she can always give it a good go. I felt like that was really good character development. I feel like Kenji kind of regressed a little bit. He wasn't that funny anymore and he didn't really care about the rest besides caring about Brooklyn. And then Sammy just got even more annoying than before, and I don't know how that was even possible, to be honest. But then we come to the later half of the season and we get introduced to Brad X's, which were the big robot dinosaurs. Oh god, I don't even know where to start with them. If it wasn't bad enough with the robot dogs, now we have robot humanoid dinosaur running on 4-leg type of things. They were not great and they were not satisfying to watch, and it just felt like they forced the robots in the episodes. They kind of pushed the dinosaurs to be secondary characters to the robots, and I did not like that at all. It made sense to have dinosaurs in the story because this is a dinosaur show. These are about the dinosaurs and about the characters within the dinosaurs, not about robots that the characters that are brand new to the series added in. And when Cash told the Brad X to look after Darius, it just felt like they were forcing the robots upon us, and it felt like they were trying to force us to like the robots. And yet again, it just felt so far-fetched. Then all of a sudden we get introduced to a new hybrid dinosaur, the Spinoceratops. Half Spinosaurus, half Sinoceratops, but for some reason lives in the cold, wintry biome. I don't know why. There's no vegetation because it is definitely a herbivore. There's no vegetation for it. Yes, it may be endothermic and survive the cold climate, but at the same time, there was nothing to support where it could eat. There was nothing to support where it could drink. There's no reason why the Spinosaurus should be able to survive in that biome, and there's no reason for the Sinoceratops to be able to survive in that biome. I feel like this was just a way to kind of get Sammy to realise how bad Manticore are, not that she already didn't know, because they even mentioned that they created this hybrid through live samples of the Sinoceratops that they gathered 6 months ago, which we know that Sammy actually retrieved from Isla Nublar. So again, I just felt like they forced that again into the series for no reason. And then it comes to the latter half, where we start to get teased about who is this new Daniel guy, who is the boss of Manticore, the president of Manticore. We don't really know who it is, but it is kind of teased. Every now and then we see that boss pop up, and then the next scene involves Kenji, which does add up if you have already seen season 4. Which I don't think I mentioned at the start. This review is actually containing loads of spoilers. I'll probably edit that in later. But yes, then we move on to episode 11, which I personally feel like is the most Jurassic that it gets. And unfortunately, that most Jurassic that it gets is around 2 minutes long. So this is when Kenji finally tells Darius about Brooklyn. For some reason, I'm really surprised by this, but for some reason Darius was actually really happy for Kenji, which kind of took me off guard, to be honest. And then it follows that episode with Dilophosaurus, which was brilliant, and honestly I squealed like a little kid seeing Dilophosaurus for the first time again. It has been so incredibly long since we've seen it in Jurassic canon, and I think its only appearance was one Dilophosaurus in 1993. These sets of Dilophosaurus I believe were in packs of 4 or 5, and they were using their venom to spit at Darius and Kenji, which was awesome in my opinion. I really loved that, and the chase scene, they were able to chase down Darius and Kenji, and Darius and Kenji were trying to escape the Dilophosaurus. That felt like Jurassic canon, just the whole vibe of it, the new biome, the new camera settings, the Dilophosaurus, all of it felt Jurassic, until unfortunately they came in with the big snowmobile thing and scared off the Dilophosaurus. But then let's talk about that cliffhanger for a little bit. Kenji Kon's father, which is now confirmed to be called Daniel Kon, and he is in fact the president of Manticore, just like I predicted many months ago. I thought that Kenji's dad was being spoken about way too often to not be anything magnificent, but we know he was rich, so I was trying to put 2 and 2 together. You have to be rich to be president of a company. And since he's being talked about a lot in season 3 and season 2 and season 1 even, it only makes sense for Kenji's dad to be the president of Manticore. And yes, that actually came true. Kenji Kon's father is Daniel Kon, the president of Manticore. And then it ends right there, which is so annoying because it's going to be May 2022 until we get season 5, which we'll talk about in another video. So overall, I'm probably going to rate season 4 on my first view, and it might be one where I have to watch it again. But I'm going to rate this around a 4.5 out of 10, which would actually be my lowest rating behind season 1, which was a 5 out of 10. Season 2 being a 7.5 and Season 3 being a solid 10 out of 10, which I loved. But I feel like the robot dogs kind of let down the story. It started off well and then it just went downhill. They introduced Dr. Turner and she was magnificent, a brilliant new character to be added. Cash, not so much. Cash was quite annoying. He did not seem like a character that had anything to him. He was very much like a robot, as we probably saw later in the episodes. And that might be why they tried to make him come across like a robot, because he was hanging around with robots the whole time. But overall, season 4 just didn't seem like my cup of tea, and didn't seem like many others' cup of tea when it comes to Jurassic canon. I'm sure loads of you guys might be agreeing with this, but the dinosaurs, you have Dinosaur like a Spinosaurus for Christ's sake, and you're only going to use it for minimal story plot, as well as the Ceratosaurus, which is the exact same Ceratosaurus from Isla Sorna in 2001. You only have it for 5 minutes on screen and that's it. Same with the Dilophosauruses. But no, for the robots, heck, throw them up on screen for 40 minutes or so throughout this whole season. Well, anyways, I don't want to rant about it. We'll probably have a few more videos saying what could have been done. I just hope that the Jurassic people working on this are going to realise that season 4 was a flop. And it doesn't look too promising, because at the end of season 5 it seems like there are loads of Brad X's, so it seems like they will be continuing over to season 5, which is unfortunate. I was really hoping for the end of them. Well, it seems like season 4 was scrapped and re-scripted loads of times according to my information, and you can kind of see that. A lot of the story didn't really add up, a lot of the story felt rushed, a lot of the story felt very forced. Albeit, if we were to take the Jurassic canon away from this, it was a good story, it was fun to watch, and it was just entertaining. But it just didn't feel right in Jurassic canon, and if you were to ask me, it didn't fit Camp Cretaceous either. After the 3 seasons, Camp Cretaceous Season 4 just felt like it wasn't there. It felt like it wasn't really needed. But don't get me wrong, take away the things I don't like about this and I would have loved it, obviously. But this season had so much potential. They were going to a new island that we can find out new secrets. Dinosaurs are being brought over from Isla Sorna. There are testing facilities on baby dinosaurs. All of that was really good. I loved that concept and that story arc. But when they started introducing the robots, when they started not making much sense, and when they started adding characters that didn't really have much to them, it just felt like that potential was wasted away. Especially in episode 3 when the continuation issue occurred. I'm sure that those Rexes both aren't female. One of them's male, one of them's female. It has to be, especially if it's confirmed to be from Isla Sorna. Well, anyways guys, thank you so much for watching my review. I'm being as positive as I can, I promise. I'm sure season 5 will be fantastic, especially after that cliffhanger. But overall, I did enjoy it. It was fun to watch. It didn't fit the whole story overall. Whether that's the Camp Cretaceous story or the Jurassic World story or the whole Jurassic Universe story. This was supposed to be our extended canon, and unfortunately it's taken a really weird direction that I'm not too sure fans will enjoy. Either way, nothing is perfect, so let's hope that season 5 will be fantastic, releasing in May 2022. Fingers crossed for it to be earlier, however. Nonetheless, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed, do consider pressing that like, and most importantly, let me know in the comment section what you thought about season 4 if you have already seen it. But don't forget to also stay safe out there, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Bye bye. Hello, hi, you. Did you enjoy the video? Just a little reminder to press that like button and also subscribe. I just want to thank my Patreons for this month on screen right here, as giving me that little extra support really does go a long way. But anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day.